Yo, what is up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Bank Four podcast. My name is Luke Spring, and I'm with the usual Brian, Nick, and Andrew. How are you guys doing tonight?
All right, not bad.
Well, outside.
Not bad.
Nick's outside.
Just
He's
taking
out
on the move. He's
got
on the
kicked out of
move.
college already.
Taking a stroll around campus.
Yeah, I'm gonna be on the move today.
Yep, Nick is. He's taking his walk. Needs his steps in. He's getting fat. Getting that freshman 15. Needs to burn it off. But anyways, we are your number 2 source for all things sports. If you know, you know. We got a lot to talk about today with the start of the NFL season this past weekend, actually yesterday. The NBA playoffs, the conference finals on the east side
Let's
are
go,
set.
baby.
We got a game 7 over in the west, and the MLB season is also coming to a wrap. We are
Nobody
starting to
gives a
see
crap about
the
that.
playoff picture. Well, we don't care because the Red Sox suck, but other
Nah, the
people
whole
might
thing
care.
is stupid.
But we are going to start with the NFL season, and specifically our favorite team, the New England Patriots. They had a good game. What do you guys think about their performance against Miami yesterday?
Superman Cam. Let's
It was
go.
great. It was good.
Great
Great
defense.
Oh,
Great defense.
Defense was great. I think.
Who
so
needs
it
Hightower?
Don't say that yet. The offense only had 21. The offense only had 21 points, but like in reality, they had like 31 because like Harry, like I mean that's a fluke thing, and like legit fluke thing that will never happen again the rest of the season. Knock on wood. And then Nick Folk sucks, so that's 31 right there. And then
Nick Folk.
He sucks. Like the kickers, it's awful. But the offense moved. I feel like they moved the ball.
They were moving.
Will. Every drive, if they wanted to, I feel like Miami sucks, but their defense isn't half bad.
No,
So,
I still cannot believe how impressive Stephon Gilmore is. He is absolutely insane.
I mean, he's so handsy. Some of those penalties he's got to clean up. But
the penalties this week from all of football are ridiculous. The pass interference.
I know.
The one on CeeDee Lamb. Come on. That was a little bit of an acting job. Give him a break.
Nah,
I think he moved Jalen
Gallup.
Rams. I don't think
Gallup.
I mean, Gallup. Still. Come on.
I know that was terrible.
You
Whatever.
can't
But
call that one.
back to the Pats. Defense looks for 3 picks. Like back at it. Back where they left off. J.C. Jackson was a beast. Gilmore's always good. The D line was better than what we thought, and Pat's offensive line. I mean, the only time that Newton was pressured was because he did it to himself. Man just holds the ball and stands there. Like Brady, we're so used to him just getting the ball and firing it. Newton kind of stands there like flat-footed and like waits for something to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm still concerned though.
I think it's one thing Newton can work on with McDaniels and the offense. Work with the wide receivers. Something that Brady did, in my opinion, really well. Obviously, you pointed it out. That he just gets the ball out really quickly and hits receivers in the flat, behind the line, little quick hitters. And that's Newton. Newton can be a quarterback that just catches a snap, fires it right away like Brady did, quick release. With that running ability.
Oh, it's
that's
first,
Tom Brady on steroids if he can develop like that.
He threw some really good balls. I would like them to pass it more because I feel like they could have. Like they just decided not to because they could run it down Miami's throat. Just the ability to like be able to run the ball is just like weird. It's so weird. Like he did that. Like so weird.
He did that quarterback run 15 times.
I know he did that QB run. Like, and I'm not worried about him. Like every time Brady got hit, I was like, please stand up. And Newton, I'm like, he's fine, but like I don't want him. Like, there's a limit where you don't want him to run too much where he starts to get beat up. The O-line is with Andrews back. I think that's big, and they have a lot of money invested in that offensive line. So they should. I want them to pass the ball more, but who the heck are they going to pass it to? Other than Edelman and Harry had a decent game. I mean, he had a stupid fumble, but other than that, he looks strong. Right. But Izzo was targeted once, and he looked fine on that. I mean, that play was good. Ozzie was in the game for like 2 snaps, and that's it. And Keene was inactive. So, and then the Demir Bird or whatever, the other guy, they didn't even target. And I don't know what happened to Jacoby Myers. So, yeah, I don't know. Bill said that they were just kind of doing like a slow, like phased, like to the offense. Like they're going to start amping it up as things go. And obviously you don't really have to amp up your running game. Your running game's hand the ball off and run the ball, which is every drive they had a different running back. Every drive started with Michelle, then it went to Burkhead, then it was White, then it was J.J. Taylor, who somehow got yards. That guy was kind of like sneaky Deion Lewis-like.
Yeah.
It looked like they could get 5 yards plus with any guy they wanted to, so that's good. And Newton can get 5 whenever he wants as well. So
I'm
Well,
still
I think
concerned,
that.
though.
Oh,
Go ahead, Nick.
okay, I'll go ahead then. I think that if you're Belichick, sign Newton, sign him for a lot of money, and I think that one big thing that they're going to do with Newton that a lot of teams don't do with their quarterbacks, they're just going to let him do whatever the hell he wants. I don't think, obviously, you don't want Newton to get hurt, but I don't think they're going to be as cautious as they would if they didn't. I think they have faith in Stidham, which means I don't think they're going to be as cautious as they would be with having a quarterback in like Cam Newton. The risk of injury obviously is not going to be, I don't think, a big concern for Newton because if he gets hurt, they got Stidham. I think they have a lot of faith in Stidham. So I think it makes me feel comfortable knowing that they're letting Newton do whatever he wants. They're not putting restrictions on him. They're literally let him. You can go ahead, run. Why don't you? If you get hurt, you get hurt. We have a backup. We have a lot of faith in. So I think that's a big pillar in the chemistry between Newton and the whole Pats organization. They just let him play.
So I'm still concerned, however. I mean, yes, that was a good game. Yes, it was against Miami. But I'm still concerned a little bit because at this point now, no one knew what the Patriots offense was going to look like. No one knew. So Miami had no game plan. They had no film of whatever. That all they had was old Tom Brady who can barely outrun a 70-year-old grandma in skinny jeans. Like that's the only film they had.
Grandma in skinny jeans, yikes.
That's the only film I had. So they couldn't prepare like they wanted to for this game. Now teams know what the Patriots want to do. And again, it's not set in stone. They don't know if they're going to go to this option of this style of play. But if they do, I think they are in trouble because, again, we talked about it. They don't have the weapons. They have Edelman, who's he'll get you those 7 catches for 80 yards, but that's it. And other than that, they don't have a deep threat. And that's kind of wasting Cam's arm because he has a cannon of an arm, but they can't get anyone the ball down there because no one can make it past their defender down there. So they don't have the weapons offensively. And I feel like teams are going to continue to game plan for Cam running the ball, a ton of spies on Cam. So he's going to have to start relying on throwing the ball a lot more. And I don't know if that's going to be a viable option for them once they get into, even next week against Seattle, a very good defense. So I'm a little concerned still. They had a great game. And again, it's just against Miami, so it doesn't really say a lot, but I am still, I just need them to play really well against a good team and then I'll be reassured.
I think Miami has a good defense. And they signed
Miami's
Byron Jones.
Seattle's defense isn't that good anymore. I mean, other than
they have
Adams
Jamal. They have having Adams. And I think. I don't want to get into Seattle defense. I think what Miami had was they got Van Noy is a good edge rusher. They have Shaq Barrett. He's a good defensive lineman. Obviously, a linebacker. They have Landon Roberts. I mean, he's nothing special. And they got a pretty good secondary. Signed Byron Jones. They have Xavier Howard. So I think that putting up 21 points should have been 31 against that secondary. That defense, that's not terrible, especially when you're experimenting. And I think Luke, you have concern. I'm opposite. I don't have any concern. I have hope. And I'm very excited to see what the season has in store. I think the Patriots, after losing last year to Baltimore, said, you know what? If we lose Brady, we're going back and we're going to copy. It's a copycat league, and they're going to copy Baltimore's offense. No other team is doing that. And Baltimore just ran over the Browns this week. And I don't think their offense is changing much. I think the Patriots are going to adopt a similar form of that Baltimore Ravens offense. It's a copycat league, and I think they're going to use that committee backfield plus Cam Newton to their advantage.
Q, you want to say anything about the Pats yesterday?
Well, you're the most negative person ever about anything Boston sports.
So hold on. I want to get to that. I just want to hear your thoughts first, then we'll get to that because I have things to say. Go ahead. Just go. What were your analysis of yesterday?
I thought it was a good win. I feel like later in the year, they're going to start to figure out the passing game, and they're going to be able to use the run to set up the pass, sort of like old school football. and it's not what we're used to, but it's what's going to work.
So
Is-
back to what you were just saying. Yesterday, if you actually not if you guys know, you don't know. Yesterday, the three of you guys were not happy with me, but I said something
No.
and I still stand by it. This is the first time in our lifetime the Patriots are worth watching in the regular season.
I didn't disagree
First
with
time in
that.
my lifetime.
The
First time in our
reasoning, I mean, I
lifetime.
think the Patriots are always worth watching the regular season, but your reasoning was that
Incorrect.
now your reasoning is
It's
that
always
now
it's football.
not,
There's only
it's
16
not,
games. You watch
it's
every
not
game.
you're saying it's not they think it's worth watching because it's not a guaranteed 12 wins. So you're saying that you'd rather watch the Patriots struggle to win? I wouldn't. I like
so
comfortable
no,
wins.
no,
I
so
like blowouts.
this is what
When they blew out Miami
happens.
week 2, I enjoy every minute of that game.
I don't enjoy that. So this is what happens, right? They win 17 of the last 20 AFC championships. It's basically guaranteed. As soon as the ball is snapped for that first game week 1, Brady's going to have his close to 5,000 yards, 30 touchdowns, and the Patriots are going to win 12-13. It's basically guaranteed every single year.
Still love
Now
seeing it happen.
but it's not
It's
worth
no, but
watching
no,
because you
it's
know
different.
what happens.
No,
You
see
know
here.
what
Look,
I don't
happens.
like to be stressing for games. I don't. I'm stressing for this week.
But you have to
I
admit,
think
it's
they can pull it off.
exciting. It's
As an
exciting
upset,
that there's a
but
race now, that the Patriots are playing meaningful regular
Exciting?
season football. Because before, it's not
Exciting?
meaningful.
I'd say stressful. Honestly,
I'm
I'm
excited.
more
Okay,
worried.
here,
I'm more worried
can-
than excited.
So can I just throw this out there? So just as like,
No, you can't.
okay, sorry, Brady against New Orleans on Sunday. That was the first game that he was an underdog since 2015, right? And I
In
don't
the
know
regular
what game.
season.
In where because we were an underdog against Kansas City. In the regular season, but that just proves basically what Luke is saying, that every game the Patriots are straight out expected with Brady in the last 10 years, even 20 years, were straight out expected to go out into the field and win every single game. And when they lost, you're like, wow, we lost. But, they lost a couple games a year. But when they lost, it was like, wow, we lost. This year's going to be like, oh, damn, we lost. But when we win, we're going to be like, let's go. Like,
Exactly.
like a game this year, if we beat the Bills, we're going to, yes, the Bills improved, but we're going to be like, that's a big win. In the past,
beatable team.
That's
we
the race.
were 32-3 against the Bills with Brady. 32-3. Now it's gonna be like, that's a game. But credits to the Bills for getting better. But just looking at the schedule, Seattle, you win that game. That's a huge win. That's a game
I think they can pull it off.
Yeah, I do too. I don't.
Well, yeah, I'm not
defense is
again. I'm not saying that they can't win 12 or 13. I'm just saying it's a lot more exciting because
it's more the edge of your seat. Every possession is like, let's go,
Exactly.
let's get a score. It's not just like sit back on the couch and eat some food.
It's a brand new system, so it's who knows what's going to happen. And B,
We don't know what to expect.
There's finally
New.
someone rivaling the Patriots. Like the Bills, I mean, they might not rival them, but they're going to be close enough to where it's going to be a race, and it's going to be very exciting.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Nick.
Okay. Well, here's what I'm thinking. It's a whole new system, and you guys are thinking you're worried about the system. It's unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen. I'm making the argument that this is a better system than before.
Yeah, I'm kind of there
because
too.
here's the thing: New England's they've had
balanced.
Brady, right? But they've always had that committee backfield.
Well, and this is where football's shifting
recent years.
too.
See, when they were a juggernaut in Brady's prime, they never won a Super Bowl. When they've won the last 3 times they won the Super Bowl, they've had that committee backfield. Whether it was Lewis the head or Michelle now, they've always had that committee back. Or the Garrett Blunt, they've always had that committee backfield. They always had the one bulldozer running back. They've always had the one speedy guy. They've always had the one guy you catch and and run. They've always had that change of pace. It's always been Rex Burkhead. And they've never, in recent years, never really had that one wide receiver. Yeah, Gronk was there, but Gronk was kind of hurt and whatever. But I think this is built for that. This offense is built for having a quarterback. They don't have the one perfect wide receiver. It resembles a kind of offense that Newton had when he made it to the Super Bowl, where he didn't have that awesome receiver. Yeah, he had Kelvin. I don't even know if he had Kelvin Benjamin, but he had Greg Olsen at tight end. He didn't have a lot of all-pro receivers. He had Jonathan Stewart. He had
Ted Ginn was
Hayne
good that
and
year.
Fozzie Whitaker, right? He had the committee backfield. He run a lot. He had a good offensive line. That's what the Patriots bring. And they had a great defense. This is like resembling this is resembling
I wouldn't
Newton's
say it's
20
great.
what
It's
20.
good.
It's a variation with a better defense of Newton's 2015 Carolina Panthers that took to the Super Bowl. It's just like the same kind of build. And they've really developed that. I think this is a really
15
good
and 1,
offense.
here we come.
I think this is a better fit given the pieces we had. I don't think Brady in this kind of offense is a good fit. He needs receivers. He's a great quarterback, but he can do great things with great receivers. I don't think he can do really good things with really crappy receivers. Newton's a guy that's just really electric. He can get everyone going, can run the ball, and he gets you thinking run, and he'll hit the worst receiver on the team, but even the worst receiver can catch the football. You know what I'm saying? So I think
Yeah.
I just think this is the perfect offense for the Lakers. I'm not worried at all.
Every
Me
game
neither.
this season's I'm confident just because I think Bill is super excited to be working with something different. He's just gonna this week. He literally said it was a preseason game. He was not even trying to do different things. He was just like, let's try to get the win. They played well enough. They got the win. They're going to keep working things in to make this offense even better.
Right.
But there is not like this. Their schedule is like it's tough. It's,
And
it's the hardest schedule.
15.
It's the hardest schedule in football. So just running down it quick. Seattle, tough game. Vegas, they're decent. Chiefs
Yeah.
on the road, good luck. Broncos at home, they should win that one. 49ers at home, that'll be a good game. Buffalo on the road, that's tough. Jets suck. Ravens at home, that'll
That's
be a
not
dogfight.
the home away
Texans
things
on the
aren't
road.
really much of a
I know
factor.
it doesn't matter. Okay, so but then Texans, Cardinals are better. The Chargers suck. The Rams, I think they can beat. Dolphins are terrible. Bills again late and Jets again late. So you have
Here's a-
3 division games to end the season that you could go 3-0. But then that stretch from pretty much Seattle to the Rams. So basically the next 13 weeks is insane.
Here's the
Literally,
thing about
every
Cam
game
Newton.
except the Jets game in the middle.
Here's the thing that I love about Cam Newton. He does so much better, or I can't say so much better, compared to other quarterbacks. He does so much better against good pass rushes because he can just take it out of the pocket and run. Right? You get teams with good pass rush like the Bills. They have a good pass rush. The Dolphins have established, they got some great signings. The Jets have always kind of had a pretty good, front four. The Rams have a good pass rush. They can go on and on. I think these are better matchups than having a team that, like, if Newton had to play against the Patriots with a similar team against that secondary, I don't think that's a given. You know what I'm saying? I think that when they're forced to play against teams with really good secondaries, that's gonna be the problem because they don't have a lot of weapons. You just lock up Edelman. We saw that against Tennessee. They just locked up Edelman and Brandon nowhere to throw the ball to. So the thing with Newton,
Brady also
because he
refused to throw the ball.
because he can run, because he can scramble, the teams with the really good pass rushes can't blitz anymore because Newton's just going to scramble. So they have to drop back into coverage. So Newton can scramble even more, and the run game opens up. And with a good run game, that frees up the passing game. So that's why Newton, I just think the running ability of the quarterback, I think NFL is going from passing league, and now quarterbacks are going to be more mobile in the coming future because I think it's a really, really beneficial offense.
So I don't doubt that Newton's going to run the ball a ton. But then again, it always comes down. I feel like it has to come down to their receiving core. And when we look at mobile quarterbacks, I'd say, Russell Wilson is a mobile quarterback. He can get out of the pocket. And then obviously Lamar Jackson. But the thing is, they're able to adapt when QB spies are thrown at them. So when they scramble out of the pocket, teams are now going to, especially with the Ravens after Lamar's season last year, they're going to have put a linebacker and say, follow Lamar Jackson wherever he goes so he can't scramble out of the pocket. So what does Lamar do? He can throw to his receivers, Marquise Brown, Willie Snead, even the running backs can get out. I like J.K. Dobbins a lot and Mark Ingram. And then same with Wilson. He has DK and Tyler Lockett. And is Will Dissly playing this year? I don't know if he is, but even still, he has weapons. The thing with Cam is he has to rely on his legs, and once those are taken away by good defensive teams, good defensive coaches, by that QB spy, what does he do then? That's the only thing that concerns
I don't
me.
think Wilson's a huge running threat as much as you do.
Wilson can do it though.
Yeah, but
Wilson
so can Kyler Murray and so can Jack.
And then
like,
Kyler
so
Murray Kyler Murray has Hopkins and Kirk. It all comes down to it's a dual threat quarterback for a reason. They're not running backs who can also happen to throw the ball. They're quarterbacks who can happen to run the ball. So he needs to, and I don't doubt Cam's quarterback ability throwing the ball. It's just who does he have around him? And it just comes down to, I don't know, it just comes down to the weapons. And I think good defenses will prepare well enough. Again, we still haven't seen – this is game one. We still haven't seen the finished product of the Patriots.
Right.
And I don't doubt Bill and I don't doubt Josh McDaniels because they are
exactly.
great coaches. But it just has to be concerning, especially if they go on with this style of play, it's concerning. If they switch it up, it's fine. But the way they're playing right now, they need to – I say they need to do more of those quick hitting passes and let the receivers, catch it quick and get out in space because they don't have the deep threats to throw it long. And I don't know. I'm just concerned with right now, but we'll see. And that's just
in
it.
my opinion. Here's the thing that we're leaving out though. Yeah, they miss weapons. I think they've had years they've been missing they've been missing a lot of weapons. I think Newton's more. I think you can see Newton as more of a weapon than Brady was because he can dual threat quarterback, right? And I think we're forgetting one thing: New England has the greatest coaching staff in NFL history. Come on, seriously, they adapt. They're built for this. They've done this. They went 8-0 last year with this.
They adapt
with a quarterback that couldn't run.
They adapt.
I think this is a very, very good situation. I think. I think this is what Belichick likes to do. He likes challenges. I think he's going to really adapt to this. I think it's a great coach.
They adapt, but they've also had the same system for 20 years. So that's why, no doubtably, they'd be the greatest staff of all time if they can win the division and go to the playoffs, especially if they get a 1 or a 2. But this is where this is their biggest test so far because they've had the same. Yes, they adapt in game and in season, but overall scheme wise, it's the first time they've changed in 20 years. So if they pull this off, then yes, that's 100% on them. But this is their biggest challenge yet, and I'm still waiting. Again, it's week 1, but I'm waiting to see what they can do with it. I have total faith, but it is a huge challenge for them to be able to completely switch the playbook.
So this is kind of a good. This is kind of a good transition to what Bill can do to kind of. I mean, his legacy is already everything about him's insane already, but if he leads this team to a division win, a 10+ win season, and even a playoff win. If they lose in the first round of playoffs, I would say it doesn't count. But if they win a playoff game, and Brady has a mediocre season, what does that do to Brady? Does that take away from his legacy and be like, oh, Tom, you're great and all, but it was Bill.
You're a system quarterback.
If Tom struggles with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Scotty Miller, Robert Gronkowski, O.J. Howard, come on. This is the best receiving core he's had since the Deion Branch, Randy Moss, Wes Walker trio. This is the best receiving core he's had. It's better. Come on, man. If he struggles with this, he can't win with this. If he finishes like the disappointing, I think 10-6 is disappointment. If he finishes like that, I mean,
the way they look like
really bad for Tom.
They are a terribly coached team, right? Bruce Arians is awful. The guys weren't ready to go. Yes, they didn't have a preseason week 1. Blah blah blah. Brady absolutely cracks me up. What does he do? Yes, Evans was a little shaken up before the game, but he only gets literally 4 targets, 1 catch, happened to be a touchdown.
Marcus Lattimore is also pretty good. I'll give credit when credit is due.
Marshawn.
But who
Okay.
Who had the big game receiving for Tampa Bay? The 5'7" white guy, Scotty Miller.
Scotty!
It's super funny at this point. This guy is not an NFL player. Brady shows up. You're the freaking stud. You're going to be a Hall of Fame after I leave. It's
Here's
hilarious.
the thing. I think Tampa Bay, the culture in Tampa Bay when Winston was there was just go downfield. I'll throw it. We're not going to run it. We're going to throw it.
30 season
fly route. Mike Evans, fly route. Chris Godwin, fly route.
I was
Howard,
listening.
Just run a curl in the middle of the field. I'll hit you somewhere and sometime. It's been really chill in Tampa. They've been losing. You bring Brady in. He's been winning his whole career. He's been strategically throwing at guys for a reason, not just throwing on a wing and a prayer. It's just a completely different style, and I think Brady's forcing like Evans and Godwin and all those guys. I think Brady is forcing them to adapt, be better.
So I think what the issue is. Well, I was listening to 98.5 earlier, and they were saying how Mike Evans just isn't that good of a wide receiver. People think he's all that in a big bag of chips because what happens?
Targets the game.
He gets with Winston. He would have 3 catches for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns because all they do would throw flies and he would catch 1 pass. He can't run a good route. He and that's like so. Brady's some of Brady's throws were like bad. Like that pick
Oh,
six,
yeah.
that's a terrible throw. The other pick, like he said, Brady was like there's some miscommunication between him and Evans, and then
Well, yeah,
Arians
it
rips
looked like it.
Brady, and then Arians is like, "That's all Brady's fault. That's unacceptable." I'm like, "Whoa, jeez, dude, relax." But
I think
but
Brady
yeah, I
went
don't
in
know.
thinking that Evans is like the guy, like, oh, I can just throw it to him on third down like it did with Josh Gordon.
I don't. Yeah, I
Not
don't
gonna
know
work
if
like that.
Evans. I don't know if Evans is as good as we think he is. I think Jameis Winston. I wouldn't say Jameis Winston made it good. I would say the Tampa Bay system was run 50 yards down the field, hope you catch it, and you show up with 30 fantasy points. Made him seem like a good player.
Like
Not gonna
honestly,
lie, I think if they just
on that
okay, Andrew, go ahead.
Scotty
on that
Miller is the player.
interception, where it looked like Mike Evans
Which
and Tom
one? The
Brady
Mike
were,
Evans one?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah,
That's the one I was talking about. And Mike Evans quit 3/4 of the way through the route. He just stopped running. So I
Yeah.
don't understand how you can really blame that on Brady when he just quit.
But Brady, like
Yeah.
some of Brady's throws, like he
sailed a couple.
Their line is pretty bad. He had a check down to the running back in like the fourth quarter that he was wide open. He threw it into the first row of the stands.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
that. That was bad.
I was like,
Brady makes
Tom,
us
what are
bad
you?
throws sometimes. I don't get it.
I was like, Tom,
He's like
what are you doing?
one of the most accurate quarterbacks of all time, and most efficient. He just makes that kind of throw.
I saw the what was I saying? I totally just blanked. Oh yeah, after the first drive, they go right down the field. I'm like, oh god, Tampa's gonna be insane. Brady's gonna have an MVP season, and then the rest of the game they're just god awful. Beautiful.
I think they need to use Godwin more.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, only 7 targets but 6 catches for 80 yards. I'm in
I think
between on like,
that's more.
I'm rooting for Brady. I want him to do good, but I also like. It's like funny because it's like you left.
Bitter.
That's what you get,
It's
bud.
like,
You suck.
Yeah.
You go to the bad team, you get the bad team. It shows. It's like these guys aren't disciplined. They're having a grand old time in sunny Florida and not working hard running the hill after they mess up. They ain't doing a lap after they fumble in practice.
No, it's not like a boot camp like it is in New England every year.
No, yeah, it's like you hear all the stories in Foxborough that if you fumble in practice, if you drop a pass, if you something, you're doing a lap around the field, and then they do those hills. Belichick later installed like a hill so guys can run it. Like it's different. So I don't know. I don't think Brady knows this Tampa team's not going to be disciplined. I don't know, the whole team. I don't know. It'll be weird.
So,
Yeah.
all right, we all know, and I want to hammer. I'm going to say this again because I want to hammer it home. It's week 1, but
Yeah.
But you know who this? We all the whole off season it was Tampa Bay this, Tampa Bay that, Tampa Bay this, Tampa Bay that. But you know who I think that this benefits more is the Patriots, and this is why. Because as much as we don't want to admit it, Tom is getting old and he's deteriorating.
100%.
And not long.
It was a good thing.
So this is what's going to happen if he stays. If he was going to stay, so we get Tom Brady in New England. We get him in prime form, or a little bit worse for his entire career in the Patriots uniform. If he stays, he would end up falling off, and one of these times we wouldn't win the division, and then be in the wild card again. And then he'd probably be splitting time with an unseasoned backup who the Pats pick up in like the last pick in the 85th round. And at that point, Brady leaves and they're in official rebuild mode. But now you bring in Cam Newton and they're going to be in contention for the next 10 years instead of going to that rebuild mode and having to draft another quarterback. So at this point right now, present day, I think it benefits the Buccaneers because I think they'll figure it out. It's Brady's first game.
Brady's got a lot of experience coming up.
He's going to figure it out. But in the long run, 3 or 4 years down the road, the Bucs are going to be out of a quarterback or out of a good quarterback, while the Patriots are still going to be thriving. Granted, Cam Newton stays healthy, but that's whatever. I don't.
So
Newton's
already 30, which isn't crazy, but as a mobile quarterback, it's a little bit more than what Brady is.
And I think his arm is fine enough to even
So
step back from that.
Here's the question. So 1-year deal, cheap deal. It's basically a 1-year deal for $1 million with the other 6 is all incentives. It's all incentives. When do they, or what does it take for them to commit to a midseason and sign him to like a 4-year $50? So it won't be big because he's he's not one of the big guys anymore. But
No.
what do you think it takes? Like, is it so looking at the schedule, if they start the season, say like 7-3, and it's week 10, going to like Houston, I think that is week 10. Week 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So week 10 would be Baltimore. So if they come out of the Baltimore game and win, like, do they wait to free agency, or do they just like, here we go, like this is we got it, like let's just lock them up?
Belichick's gonna wait. We know Bill. He doesn't.
I think it takes a
I think-
playoff win.
Yeah.
I think
I
that's
agree
what
with
it takes.
Andrew. I agree with
Yeah.
Andrew. I think they're gonna have to wait until the offseason.
He's a playoff guy. He wants playoff wins.
Mhm,
He doesn't care about the regular
exactly.
season.
Exactly.
Exactly. All
Get a
right, yeah,
playoff win.
That's a good point.
I also
That's a good
think
point.
that if Cam, especially if Cam wins and, like Andrew said, wins a playoff game, how could he not fall in
Resign.
love with the system?
I think he already has.
Oh, he
exactly.
definitely has.
So there's no other place. And who else is going to sign Cam? Who else? No one else is going to pick.
All the
No one else
teams
is
that
gonna
could
wanted
have
him.
all the teams that could have didn't do it in the first place.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
Chicago muffed it. All these teams.
well,
did.
they might
Jacksonville.
come back if he has a good year, but still, I think that even if I think they just wait it out, and then what has to happen is they have to get out and get someone either by the draft or like use your first round pick on a receiver or trade for a receiver. They just have to get someone, and
They had a
and
great
then-
chance this year, but you
Yeah,
know,
they did, and they've
Kyle
had
Duggar,
chances.
let's go.
Yeah, they've had chances in the past with
Stupid pick.
Antonio Brown, that didn't work out. Josh Gordon, that didn't work
Did he
out.
even play? Like, why did they not take? Oh, freaking! Bill as a drafter, such a strange thing. It's like
Oh yeah.
you take like.
It is strange.
so
But
annoying.
are we
Kyle
past the
Duggar. He didn't even
Patriots
get
at
a
this point?
snap. Yeah, we're
We've
past
talked-
the Patriots.
We've
talked
talked a
about
lot
them for
about the
40 minutes.
Patriots. Yeah, it's been a long time. So we're just going to jump right to the stat selections presented by nobody. But the first question, Nick, do you want to start this time again?
Yeah, sure.
All right, Nick. Nick's going to start. NFL wide receiver with 8+ catches or receptions in a game this week.
Probably Devontae Adams. I mean, look what he did this week. He had 14 catches on 17 targets. So I think that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, so that was also my pick. I'm doing Devontae Adams too. He's playing a terrible Lions team this week. And without Darius Slay now in Detroit, there's literally no one that's going to stop him. Plus, he had 14 against Minnesota, like you just said. Brian?
I'll basically go with the equivalent of that. DeAndre Hopkins, 16 targets, 14 catches against a very good San Francisco defense. He's got the football team. Impressive win for the football team, but
We'll get to
I
that
think
later.
Hopkins can easily get to 15 targets, or even he'll get the targets. He'll get the catches too.
Q-Star.
D-Hop.
D-Hop.
Oh,
2 D-Hop, 2 Adams. That is good. All right, now moving on to the second one. Nick, an NFL defense that's going to allow 17 or less points this week.
17 or less from an NFL defense. Cleveland Browns.
All right.
Got the Bengals on Thursday night. I
wow,
think Joe
he
Burrow's
watched it
young.
early.
I think that, I think the defense is still fine. I think Lamar Jackson is just a beast. And early season dents that need to be banged out by the Browns. They got blown out by the Ravens. So I'll take a bounce back against the rookie quarterback.
All right. I'm going San Fran. They play the Jets. That's just it. That's self-explanatory. Good defense against worst offense in the league. That's got to be less than 17. Brian?
I had a couple in mind. It was the bottom feeders of the AFC East. I thought the Jets getting shellacked by San Fran. I'm just going to go with the other one. I think Buffalo controls Miami. Miami didn't look like they had absolutely anything going on offense, especially if Parker doesn't play. So, yeah, they should do it again.
I think we're going to see Herbert early, by the way, speaking of, I don't know, Dolphins too. I think we're going to see Herbert early in the year.
Dolphins, but he's on the Chargers.
He's on the Chargers, but
Dolphins Tua. I'm just disappointed. Just going to throw it out there.
You just said Herbert. Wait.
Yeah, I did say Herbert.
Whatever. Andrew,
okay,
go.
moving on.
Heard me right.
Worst team in the league. One of the best defenses, 49ers. No question.
Everyone
Alright.
take the Niners?
No,
I took
No.
Buffalo.
you took
Okay.
the Browns.
No.
Whatever.
I don't like the
Whatever,
Browns. I
whatever,
think
whatever.
Cincinnati can score more than the Browns can actually score.
Yeah, whatever. Just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
NFL
I need a
running
better
back.
defense than them. Whatever.
NFL running back with 120 plus total yards this week.
Caffrey.
All right, that's an easy one. I got Zeke. He had 127 total, and they're playing the Falcons, who are always not that great on defense. Brian.
Same thing. I think Zeke can do it pretty easily.
Q.
I am gonna go with McCaffrey.
McCaffrey. Sweet.
I just want to throw out there the Falcons held the committee backfield in Seattle, specifically Carson Hyde to under 30 yards rushing. Just want to throw that out there. I mean, before we say how bad the Falcons defense is, neither Carson nor Hyde top 25 rushing yards.
Yeah, except Zeke could catch the ball, and what the heck
Yeah.
did Chris Carson do catching the ball?
Yeah,
Chris
That
Carson
is
had 2 receiving touchdowns.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's 120 total yards, so
Yeah,
Zeke could
so
catch the ball.
All
It
purpose.
is whatever. But moving on, we are going to go to our clown bag of the week. Presented by no one still because we don't have sponsors, but that is what it is. Now, this is one voted in by Nick and Andrew. It is the Philadelphia Eagles blowing their 17-point lead. I'll let
To the
you
football
guys
team.
start because I don't agree with this clown bag of the week pick, but you guys go ahead first.
Yeah, I think. Come on. You know what, Andrew, you can go first. I'll
right.
bounce off your idea.
Well, you got a projected division winner / number 2, a close second to Dallas, maybe. But a lot of people thought that they were going to win the division. A lot of people did, Brian.
I
Dallas
is
do, and
10
I
times-
still
No,
Dallas is
still-
10
Dallas is
times
10
better
times
than that
better.
Philly team.
Yeah.
They're both 0-1 though.
So here's
They're
all right.
both poorly coached
That's
and underachieving. Carson Wentz sucks. Carson Wentz
It's
Okay,
sucks.
irrelevant.
but
Go ahead, Andrew.
Brian, I said that they're either going to get first
Okay,
place
yes,
or a
yes, first
close
or second.
second. So
Yeah.
when you lose to a team that had the second pick in the draft, didn't really improve a whole lot. We're up 17, give up 27 straight points. That's just disappointing.
That's
It
not
is.
even on their defense. That's on
It's
Carson Wentz.
100%.
Carson Wentz is one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL.
Well, the offensive
Plain
line
and
was
simple.
He also
offensive line was
got
terrible. He
sacked,
got sacked
8 times?
He
Eight
he's
times
just
he got
makes
sacked.
terrible decisions.
That's
I don't even
not
care.
him.
He sucks. He sucks.
I
He's
think
terrible.
Here,
Has this team- no,
one
has
cares
this
about
team
Carson.
ever
Here's
had-
the thing.
Has this team ever had success with Carson Wentz? No, they
yeah,
have not.
when they went
Nick
to the
Foles.
Super Bowl,
That was Nick
Super
Foles.
Bowl,
That was
homie.
not
Okay,
Carson
in the
Wentz.
playoffs, but
they
not
were
in
the
regular
one
season.
seed. They were the 1 seed in the playoffs that year.
He's the
Carson
equivalent
Wentz would've lost in the
to
first
me.
round.
He's the equivalent of Jared Goff. He had that one good season, but other than that, he's been mediocre to below average with bad decisions.
That's very
But
true.
here's why this is clown bag. The Washington football team are the football team. The entire offseason was all about this whole team name thing. And that gets them fixated. What team are we? 1, 2, 3, football team. I guess they say. Like seriously, that sounds terrible. It's tasteless. You know, they
Yeah,
had
but you know
no
what
momentum
doesn't
coming into
sound
this game.
terrible?
They didn't make it. What doesn't sound terrible, Luke?
Chase Young.
Okay, no one cares. They went into this regular season. They didn't make any moves this offseason. They drafted Chase Young. Oh, he actually played great, by the way. But
Yeah, they had
even
8
still,
sacks.
They drafted Chase Young, so that was the plus. Other than that, they didn't do much this offseason. They
No.
really didn't.
100% disagree.
Their star running back, not their star running back, but their projected star, Darius Geis, decides to beat up somebody, domestic violence or whatever. All of a sudden, they're who are they starting? Peyton Barber, Antonio Gibson. Peterson's gone. They released them. I mean, they had a lot of negatives.
McKissick.
And the Eagles, they were preying on Jalen Reagor. He played. Jeffrey's out, but they were preying on Jalen Reagor. Defense got better last year when they traded for Slay. He's pretty good still. I mean, I think the Eagles were riding high on a little bit more positive note. They had a really high hopes for Sanders, who didn't play. Sanders did not play, but they had high hopes for Sanders, and they were just the momentum they were riding on. Going up 17-0, and they blow it. Like
So-
the Washington football team, the Dwayne Haskins. How many career wins does he have? Like 1, 2, maybe.
So,
Like
okay,
he's done nothing.
Can I go? When you
You asked me to go first, so
when you said what? Well, yeah, I asked you to go first. I didn't ask you to do an entire MLK speech. But when you said that Washington didn't do anything in the offseason, I 100% disagree. They got Landon Collins, who has been a top 20 in tackles in 3 of the last 4 seasons, plus he was 5th in interceptions in 2016. And the biggest addition was Ron Rivera, because we forget that Dwayne Haskins was an elite quarterback in college. What did he have? He had almost 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns in only 14 games in college. Last year, he had to play for an interim head coach, and that is not good for a rookie quarterback. Now he is an actual coach who has been to a Super Bowl, mind you, and I think that was a massive addition to I almost said the Redskins, Washington, because now Haskins in his second year, he had the experience of playing in the NFL last year. Now he has an actual coach, and he has pretty good weapons. I mean, he has Terry McLaurin. The backfield isn't terrible. McKissick is a good rookie. Barber and Gibson are both decent. But now with Haskins, who's McKissick, isn't he a rookie? Or no, he played last year on Baltimore. Never mind. I thought he was a rookie. But anyways, decent backfield, and he has some offensive weapons. Plus, he's a good quarterback. They just had a terrible coach last year. So I think that, they are a very good team. And then the defense with Chase Young and Ryan Kerrigan had 8 sacks yesterday against tough Eagles offensive line. And then combined with the terrible decision-making of Carson Wentz, I think that Washington was just a better team yesterday, especially down the stretch.
Yeah, but when you're up 17, you're not accounting for the lead that Philadelphia had.
That is
17-0.
You know what?
And they don't score for the rest of the game and let up 27 points.
You said to yourself, look, Carson Wentz made some terrible decisions. He was projected to be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL this year by insiders, by a lot of insiders and a lot of polls that Carson Wentz is going to be a top 10 quarterback this year. There's a lot of hope riding on Carson Wentz. Sleeper. He's going to have a healthy season. They drafted Rager.
So he can have the clown bag. Don't put that title on the entire team.
The offensive line was terrible too. Yes, the offensive line was terrible too, and the defense gave up 27 points to a team with 1 wide receiver. Come on.
Well, the defense played well in the first half. In the second half, they just I don't know, they just faltered. But we can't take away what Washington did, because they are a good football team. I understand 27 unanswered is tough, and that's not good by any measure. But what the conversations were around was, how bad Carson Wentz and the Eagles were. No one was talking about how good Washington was, and I think that they played a lot better than everyone expected them to play.
I very much disagree with you. I think Washington is a good football team. I think they're a football team because that's their team name, but I don't think they're a good football team.
I think they're good.
They have a quarterback.
They are also in a terrible division too, mind you not.
There's a lot riding high.
Division winners going to be 9 and 7 or 8.
There could be a lot riding high on Dwayne Haskins. They have one receiver. That's why his numbers were so good last year, because he was the only damn receiver on the team. Their running back there is guys they drafted from LSU. A lot of high hopes. Now he's a free agent. They're back, but their best running back had 17 carries for 30-something yards. Yeah, he had 2 touchdowns. They're both on the 1-yard line. They were just jumpers. That's all it was.
Well, so their running back committee
Gibson
is decent.
Did nothing.
I like their running back committee.
No,
I do.
I don't agree with that running back committee being decent. I think they're just all a bunch of backups. I think they improve themselves. I don't think they have a great offensive line. I never thought they had a good offensive line. Receiving weapons,
their defense
obviously,
is fantastic.
Not great.
Though.
Defense
got
better.
Defense a lot.
That's fine, but that's no excuse for Philly, because they have, not to say good receiving weapons, but I think they have the best tight end combo in the NFL. And I think that, they didn't have Sanders, but I think they can make up for it. They can use a similar kind of committee that Washington did. And I think that receiving wise, I think Rager had a couple of catches, I think, and I think they have. I don't even know who else they have. The receivers they're not stacked in receiver. I think they use the tight ends a lot. But I think, as Andrew pointed out, a good chunk of people. I think a lot of people had the Dallas Cowboys win the division. Second to that was Philly. No one thought about Washington at all. No, they were. How many points were they favored to?
I know, so
win
give
by?
them credit. They
I mean,
played out over their expectations.
The Eagles shot themselves in the foot. That's why they're clown bags. They blew it.
Carson Wentz shot
You
them in
can't
the
blow
foot.
us. So it's one thing if the Redskins were up 17-0 and they blew that lead and gave up 27 straight to the Eagles. That's one thing because the Eagles are a better team. It's another thing when the Eagles, the better team, blow a 17-point lead to a team that doesn't have a team name, a quarterback hasn't proven anything, a brand new head coach on a new system, and a team that has a running back committee with one wide receiver. Who cares about good defense? You don't give up 27 straight points. There's no excuse. And mind you, the Eagles defense isn't terrible. They're not a terrible defense.
They've always been middle of the road every year. They've always been
but they have a
to
ton of weapons.
average.
They have a ton of weapons defensively. They got Slay. I feel like Fletcher Cox's hurt like every year, but
he's also super old. He's like 32.
Brandon Graham's pretty good. I think they have a really good, and then I think they have a decent defense. That defense is not, that's clown bag. You can't give up 27. I'm just gonna leave it at that. You can't give up 27 to the Washington football team in a row and blow it. You can't do that.
I think Randy Bullock is more deserving, just a little bit.
Facts.
What was it?
It's one kick.
Faked the injury, 31-yarder.
29?
No.
It was a 31-yarder. He faked the injury.
31-yarder.
It was a really bad kick, and he faked the injury, but
he shanked that.
It's close.
It's freaking Timbuktu.
I'd rather hate on the Eagles for blowing a 17-point lead than a kicker for missing one kick. Obviously, there was a lot behind the kick and the lying and all that stuff, but I think that we ought to give it to the Eagles for blowing a 17-0 lead to the Washington football team.
Yeah, what's more likely? What's more likely? A division winner from the year before to blow a lead to the second worst team in the NFL, or the worst team in the NFL to blow a kick from that distance where many people have not made the kick from before.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
I also think that.
Thank you.
You point out, Luke, that Washington has a great defense. And their defense didn't. I mean, they shut the Eagles out at the end. The Eagles offensively sucked, and defensively sucked. You can't give up the defense of Philly. It's the principle that Philly's defense, gave up 27 straight to an offense.
27 straight because they were pinned because Carson Wentz was throwing the ball to the wrong team.
Yeah. The changing. I don't know if you guys watched the game. I didn't watch the full game, but I just watched highlights. But
the ability to.
From what I saw, the one
I could have actually.
The one thing that swung it back the other way, it was 17-0 Philly, 2 minutes left in the second quarter. So going into halftime, they're gonna be up 17-0. They have the ball at Washington's 30, and Wentz makes a terrible decision and throws it pick. Washington scores 17-7. Now they're going to the locker room only down 10 instead of 17 and being shut out, so they have momentum. That is why I don't doubt that, Wentz had a terrible game. I don't know if it's fair to put the blame on the entire team. I think it's way more on Wentz than it is anybody else on Philly.
Well, Andrew and I think Eagles. You and Brian think Bullock. Who said we can't have a dual clown bag of the week?
Wow, Dallas Stars to the Stanley Cup final.
First
no one
ever.
Asked, Brian.
Big
Who said we can't have a duo
podcast history right here. First dual clown bag of the week with an added Odell Beckham Jr., but we won't get into that. You can research that on your own time.
No, it's not. We're keeping it PG here. Just search OBJ, and the first thing will come up. Just read it. But no one cares about that. We're going dual.
But yeah, first ever
clown bag of the week.
Clown bag of the week. History has been made.
2-on-2. It's even.
Fine.
Positives and negatives.
We'll settle at that.
No, I wouldn't say I'm.
I
wouldn't say I was against. No. I was never against it. I was the one who came out here straight out with Carson Wentz sucks. He might be the worst quarterback in the NFC East.
Well, Luke also said Carson Wentz sucks too, and just to add on.
I said Carson Wentz. I say blame puts on Carson Wentz, not the whole team.
Sucks. We all agree here that Carson Wentz sucks. I think the NFL should know that by now. I think ESPN insiders should learn their lesson not to put Carson Wentz as a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. I think they should learn their lesson from that because
But
it's just
he's
not
shown
true.
flashes of it. That's the thing. He's shown which is so frustrating if you're an Eagles fan. I'm not an Eagles fan,
So
but
did Ryan Fitzpatrick,
I can.
but they don't
No,
put him in
no,
top 5.
it's not the same. It's not the same.
Facts.
He makes
Right?
dynamic plays, but then he right. So this is going to be a stretch of a comparison, but he reminds me of Marcus Smart offensively. Marcus Smart makes some incredible plays offensively, but he'll also, at his worst, throw it out of bounds into the 5th row. That's what Carson Wentz does. He
Yeah.
makes incredible plays offensively,
But
but the
Marcus
next
Smart is
time
in
he'll
top
throw it
5
right to
in the
the
NBA.
defensive lineman, and it's a pick six. He makes he again, he has flashes of top 5 quarterback, but then the next drive he takes 2 steps back. It's 1 step forward, 2 steps back for him every single season, which is so
But
frustrating.
But Marcus Smart, no one ever saying Marcus Smart's top 5 shooting guard in the NBA. That's the difference. You're comparing Carson Wentz to a guy that is good sometimes and isn't good sometimes, but no one gives him credit,
Well, that's
right?
the same.
And doesn't.
He plays the
But I
same
don't
way
think
as
he
Carson
deserves the
Wentz.
credit to be top 5, right? That's who you're comparing. Carson Wentz doesn't deserve to be a top 5 quarterback.
I
in
wasn't
the NFL, but
comparing
yet
the
guys are
hype. I was
putting him there.
comparing the play
No,
style.
I know the play style and blah blah. But I just think
Decision
that
making.
seriously,
That's who it reminds me of. Like
he stinks.
flashes of
He's not.
of greatness, but he's just inconsistent. Inconsistency is
Well,
what it is. Comes down to.
I think everyone is just still high on the fact that he took the Eagles so far during the regular season, and as Brian said, we all forget that Nick Foles did win the Super Bowl. Nick Foles finished it when it mattered the most. So that's just something. Dual clown bag of the week. I think it's
Dual
pretty
clown bag of the week. First ever historical episode for the
I
Big
think
Four.
that
Four.
deserves
This will go down
another.
in history.
I think that deserves
think that
another
deserves-
noise.
cool. I think it deserves
Another
4 horns.
deserves a
Pull 'em
lot.
out.
Hold on, I have to pull it up now.
Give 2
Deserves a
horns for
lot.
Wentz and 2 horns for Bullock.
Well, I can do 10 hours of clown horn.
Ah,
Why is it not working? It's not. There we go. Dual clown
There you
bag of the
go.
week. Moving
Dual
on
clown
from
bag of
that,
the week.
we're just gonna. It's been a while, but I just want to touch on one last thing before we go,
let's do it.
and because we've just been all NFL, but I want to get to Game 7 tomorrow night. Not Jazz. Why did I say Jazz? Nuggets Clippers.
Oh man.
The Clips blew it.
If the Nuggets can
I
pull
think-
this off,
I think
Go ahead,
LA's
Andrew.
gonna win.
if the Nuggets can pull this off and come back from 3-1 2 times, I mean, I don't think they're getting past the Lakers. I don't think anybody's getting past the Lakers at this point.
I'm a huge Denver fan tomorrow.
Yeah, it would just
Call me
be
Sam Khalil.
it would be a great story.
It would.
I think it wouldn't, like, they would still end up losing in the Western Conference Finals, but
Probably win an Oscar, but not a championship.
Yeah.
Right.
great. I still think that it would be really, really cool. Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, they've both been great. Michael Porter Jr. showing flashes. Clutch 3 in game, what was that, 5 or 6?
5,
I forget.
think.
I still think the
watch.
Clippers are gonna. Pains me to say it 'cause I hate the Clippers. I mean, I pretty much hate every NBA team except the Lakers. But I'm just gonna say it. I mean, I think the Clippers are gonna win. I'm a huge Denver fan tomorrow for the one time because it's gonna be. I think it'd be the Lakers. For the Lakers, be easier to play for any NBA team sitting in the conference finals, and they get to play a team that's either played. The Clippers would have played a 6-game series and a 7-game series, or Nuggets would have been played in 2 7-game series. I mean, how many teams have made to the finals after doing that in the first 2 rounds? You usually see a first round, a nice little coast in the first round, maybe a game or 2 taking L's in the second round, third round. Might be a struggle, but then they get to the finals. Either way, whoever makes it to the West semis the West finals is gonna be gassed.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of games that both teams have played. The Clippers would have played 13, and the Nuggets would have played 14. So I just think that I think the Clippers are going to win. I think it's going to come down to who's played less, and who's a little less tired per se. I think Denver's a little less tired. I mean, the Clippers are a little less tired because they played less games. I also think they're deeper than Denver. But I think either way, it's a great story for Denver. And I think it's going to be a really big carry on into the next season. I'd rather see Denver lose today, lose tomorrow, take that momentum into the next season, than potentially get blown out by the Lakers in the West Finals because they're so gassed. They can't even stand a chance.
Yeah. I am telling you, though, Kawhi is on very thin ice right now. Very. He needs to win this game, and he needs to win it badly because the narrative here will be the narrative won't be praising the Nuggets. It will be why the heck did Kawhi Leonard lose? And I think that's what we all want to see is Kawhi against LeBron. And that would be a great that's the battle of essentially the NBA because those I feel like when it comes to the playoffs, those are the two best in the NBA. And that right there is the battle because whoever comes out of there is going to be, as much as I like the Celtics, they're going to be either Miami or Boston. So right there, that's the finals essentially. LeBron versus Kawhi. Who is going to win that? But if Kawhi can't even make it past Denver, there's not even a question. There's not even a question. So I think that
is there a debate Kawhi versus LeBron? Seriously?
Yes.
That's still that's still going on
right now. Are you kidding me? Yes. Guy, did you see what Kawhi did last year? I'm just saying. And this isn't me talking all time. Obviously, LeBron's a better player all time.
Playoffs?
But right now, it's the battle between LeBron and Kawhi.
For what?
For best
MVP?
player in the NBA, essentially, right now.
Best player.
That's what
best
it is.
Playoff player in the NBA.
Yeah.
Playoff. Wow.
Which the playoffs
right
matter
now,
most.
Nick.
So
this is news to me. This is the
NBA.
first time I'm hearing this. This is news to me. I mean, seriously, it is.
Does Penn State not have Wi-Fi or internet or?
No, I just don't think people. I just don't hear people comparing Kawhi and LeBron. It's so weird. I move out to Pennsylvania. I move out. I don't move out to Pennsylvania. I go to Penn State, and the people here, no one's from Boston. No one has a ton of hatred for LeBron. There are a lot of people saying LeBron's the GOAT, the MVP.
He's not the GOAT. I'll tell you that.
Hold on. A lot of people say, "Oh, I can argue with that all day." GOAT, MVP.
Save it for the special. Save it for the special.
Nick, you know my opinion on that.
Yes, I do. I moved back. I go back to Boston. Oh, LeBron's not the GOAT. He's not even close. He's not the best player in the league. Kawhi's better. And that's when I'm talking to you guys. And then I turn the microphone off and go to my dorm, and LeBron's the GOAT. I think it's just a Boston thing. LeBron's
definitely not.
Everyone in Boston hates LeBron.
Well, yeah,
except
that's
for a select few.
simple.
Don't worry, Nick. You know my opinion.
LeBron is a lot better than you think he is in 49 states, except for Massachusetts.
I got you, Nick.
Yeah. Or actually, I shouldn't say that. More like 44, except New England.
Yeah,
New England
like
hates
that.
LeBron. Yeah.
So
get
Nick,
the gist.
You said it's not a debate between LeBron and Kawhi, and you think LeBron is just outright.
No. I'm just telling you what the people out here think. I think you can argue it. I don't.
But what happens when Kawhi does? If Kawhi does beat LeBron, then what's the narrative there? Kawhi is the better player. I think it's
Kawhi
this
beats
is the matchup
LeBron
for
with
this
sixth
season.
man of the year, runner-up for sixth man of the year. Paul George, bona fide superstar, and Kawhi himself, who's competing with LeBron, versus LeBron, who has Anthony Davis.
Another top five player in the national
I think LeBron being Kawhi, GOAT. Now I want to hear it. I'm not even going to argue anymore. I won't even accept an argument. LeBron beats Kawhi.
Yeah.
Kawhi beats LeBron.
Why don't we take this in the other direction?
Yeah, exactly.
What if Kawhi loses? He downgrades in his success after going to a much better team.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying this is the matchup.
To LeBron?
I'm not saying Kawhi's not even close. He's only had he's already 28.
He's a
29.
ring away from tying LeBron.
But he's only had I think I talked about this on an earlier podcast, but he's only been Kawhi for 4 or 5 years because those first few years in San Antonio, he was behind Duncan and Parker and Ginobili and I don't know the next splitter the next Spur that comes to mind is Thiago Splitter, but that's not even
Aldridge.
close. But still, he wasn't there when Kawhi was there.
Aldridge was somewhere else.
Oh, that's right.
Regardless.
He was in
Regardless,
Portland,
so the
yeah.
debate between LeBron and Kawhi all time is not even a question. That is not
I
even a
don't
question.
think it's
I'm
a
saying
debate,
for
right?
this
I mean, I
season, the
don't.
narrative right now, who is the better player, best player in the NBA, especially when it comes to playoff time, it's between LeBron and it's between Kawhi.
See,
That is for this season.
I haven't heard that yet. That hasn't made it out. That hasn't made it out.
Well,
to
you heard it
Pennsylvania.
from me,
It really hasn't. It hasn't made it out to the
ESPN
middle of nowhere
analyst.
State College, PA. It really hasn't yet. It's always been. I've never thought of it.
I don't
I've
think
always
this
thought
is new.
maybe LeBron versus Giannis, but Kawhi's always been.
What
in the
has
back.
Giannis ever
Dude,
proved
Giannis
in his
can't play in
career?
the playoffs.
Dude, are you on
No,
crack?
I know, but that's what I've never even thought of Kawhi.
Who's the other two?
It took Kawhi 6 games to beat the young Mavericks. It's taken him 7 games to beat the
young Mavericks.
Nuggets.
What do you mean the young? Oh, this year.
The young Dallas Mavericks. Took him 6
Oh,
games with
I
the
was
Mavericks
thinking.
with that squad. 7 games now to try and beat the Nuggets with this squad. And the Nuggets.
It's not like Kawhi is underperforming.
I mean, it's not. Yeah, Murray's playing fantastic, and yeah, Jokic is playing great, and yeah, Porter's scoring. But is Murray top 5 in the league? Is Jokic top 5 in the league? No, I don't even think they're top 10. Really, you can make an argument for Jokic, and Murray's playing pretty good. But overall, I mean, come on, there's nothing special there. And then he goes to play LeBron. I think is the best player in the NBA. I think Kawhi I think Kawhi's got so many weapons on his team compared to LeBron that even if he wins, even if they make it to the finals, you're like, weren't they? Yeah, aren't they not supposed to?
That's actually are they though?
Kawhi,
His team, just
PG,
looking at the
Lou Williams, Montrezl Harrell. I mean, come on, seriously.
just looking at the last game. Just looking at the last game, it's basically the equivalent to Lakers. It's George and Leonard combining for 58, and then it's freaking JaMychal Green with 11, Lou Williams with 14, Harrell with 5, and then Marcus Morris has 5, Zubac has 2, Beverly has 2.
Marcus Morris, but look, in that's what they lost to the Lakers. They get close to 60, 70 points between LeBron and AD, and then one other guy may step up. But not. But one game was Markieff Morris. The other day it was Rondo. And then the other day, actually, everyone showed up. Last game they played, everyone kind of showed up against Houston. But there's always usually one guy that shows up. For the Clippers, Lou Williams averaged close to 20 a game. Harrell averaged 18 a game.
It's old guy versus old guy team. In the end, it's old guys versus old guys.
What did Harrell average? I think he averaged 18 a game. Luke?
Yeah, he averaged 18.6.
Yeah. These are averages. They go out and they did this. They didn't play 2 games, but whenever they played, they'd score 18, 20, 25 points a game. Come to the playoffs, and seriously, the principle stands. If he doesn't win with 3 20-point per game scorers, an 18-point per game scorer, second team all defense, or that's just they should win. The Clippers should win. I don't think they're going to win because I don't think Kawhi's that good. But I think they should.
They're going to lose to Denver?
I think they're going to lose to the Lakers. They play in 13 games, and then they go to play the Lakers, who will play 10 games. Will win the first game.
It doesn't matter. That doesn't matter.
No, games matters. Have you watched the regular season? Kawhi takes every other game off because he's tired. Games do matter.
Because they
really do.
No, that's not because he's tired. That's for preparing for the playoffs.
No, he won't.
Yes.
It doesn't matter.
Kid.
Do you think Kawhi's like, I don't want to play today because I don't like basketball? Like, what?
I don't want to play today because I'm tired because I played yesterday.
In the end, to wrap this up, because we're going off a lot, in the end, I believe it's LeBron versus Kawhi because regardless of what happens in the first 42 minutes of the game or 43 minutes of the game, it's about who has the ball in the last 5 minutes, and those two will have the ball. So in the end, that is why I believe it. But thank you guys for listening.
Celtics in 5.
It's very long. Yeah, we didn't even get to the Celtics, but we don't have time for that.
Don't need to. It's obvious.
We don't need to.
That good.
We don't need to. You guys done any last words? Any last words? No.
Celtics in 5. That's it. No,
Celtics in 5.
Yeah, LeBron's
I thought I heard MJ was the GOAT from Nick.
How is LeBron the GOAT?
I might have heard
LeBron's
that wrong.
a GOAT.
How?
I have changed my mind. After the Lakers took care of the hottest team in basketball in 5, and then the 3-point shooting Rockets in 5. Like,
who's
it was
the
nobody's
hottest
business.
team in basketball?
Portland was the
Portland
hottest
Trail
team in
Blazers.
basketball when they played them. They were the hottest team in basketball.
Oh, okay.
They had one of the best players in the NBA. took care of him in 5 like it was nobody's business. Took care of the Rockets in 5. I think he's proven to me now officially that he's the greatest player of all time.
LeBron's the best player to ever play the game.
Never
Okay,
count him out in playoffs.
We got enough time. We're gonna have to add another special for that. So that's on tap. So we have two upcoming specials. We don't know when they're gonna be yet. We have the Brian versus Nick, Celtics versus Lakers debate coming up sometime in the future, and now just scheduled right now, LeBron versus MJ for the GOAT, because I have some.
Me and
things I
Andrew
have to
versus
say
Luke and
about
Brian.
that. But first, we're gonna do the Celtics Lakers. We're still in the works and scheduling that. We will let you guys know.
If that
We'll hype
becomes
it like
this
a month
finals
in advance.
matchup, that should be the day before the finals tip off.
That would be good.
I kind of want it to be after the season's over, because then,
Alright,
then you
doesn't
really get a
matter.
taste of because I feel like if it's
Nah,
during
'cause
the
either
season,
one
I'll be
of
like,
the
oh,
one-
no, they did
either
this.
one
Nick
of us
only
could
wants
be.
it to be after the season because the Lakers are going to win the finals and he'll have more leverage. But whatever, it doesn't
If
matter.
the Lakers win the finals, we're not having this debate anymore. If the Lakers win the finals, I will
17 to
refuse the debate.
17, bud. Regardless, it doesn't matter. We've been ranting for a long time. Look out for those two
okay.
specials in the future. Go follow us on Instagram and Twitter at the Big Four _podcast. Thank you guys for listening and see you next time.
Peace.